Okay, so this is Unleashing SMEs. My name is Raymond Mutura from the Centre for Research on Organizations, Work and Family in SBS. And I'm also the academic director of a family business executive course in SBS.
My name is Edwin Obonyo. I'm in Strathmore Centre of Value Investing and also the lead instructor of KOMA training program in SCBI.
Yeah. So welcome. Yeah, welcome to this second episode. We're actually very privileged to have our guest, Joyce Gitehi. Yeah, Joyce is one of our cohort 10 graduates in the Family Business Executive course. She came with her mother, and eventually we got to know their beautiful businesses, Gigi, Reuben, and PALLA Credit. Yeah. So maybe Joyce, you can just begin by saying who you are, what you do for PALLA and Gigi, and also what brought you to the family business course in SBS.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I'm Joyce Gitehi. I'm the director, Gigi Reuben Investments, which is the parent company for PALLA Credit, and River Court, which is a real estate company. So our motivation to do the family business program was we just wanted to structure our business in a more professional manner, given that both companies have been running for more than 10 years. So we just needed to elevate things to the next level. That's why we enrolled to the program.
Yeah. Okay. I know, of course, a bit about your history on the business. You started with your dad.
Yes.
Or dad started and joined you.
Yes.
Then you employed your mom. It's a very interesting story. How did that happen now? You want to say something about it?
Yes. So my dad started both companies like 15 years ago, and he'd been running them successfully up until he got sick in 2018, and he couldn't, do everything hands-on. However, throughout the journey, I'd been, interning there when I was on holiday, so I'd started learning a bit about the business. But from 2017, I started being more active. So I'd leave work, come and, work with him. When I'm on leave, I'd be there to do stuff with him. Then when he got sick, he had to travel to India for treatment. So that's when I actively took up the role as the director. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2019.
PALLA.
Yeah. So I had to resign my job at the UN and now fully participate in running the business.
Okay.
So that's when now after, mom was stable, now she came and now joined me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So we are in 2024 now.
Yes.
How has the journey been since you've been there fully?
As a director.
Yes.
I'd say
And you're the boss of mom, or mom is your boss? So how does
now
it work?
she's my boss. Initially I was the boss, but now she's the boss. It's been a very tough journey for one, but I choose to see it as a learning opportunity. So given the way everything unfolded, I sort of, I was thrown in the deep end. Dad has left. I have 2 companies. I have 60 employees. I have to figure out, where the salaries are coming from, what's the next step, what's the strategy. And of course, just footing medical bills for 2 years for such an ailment took a toll on the finances. So by the time I was starting off, things were not so good. We had loans, the books were not looking good. So from there, I just had to figure out, okay, what next? And I think in the process of all that is when I decided to enroll to do my MBA. Because as part of the journey, which I did at Strathmore. Yes. So I enrolled MBA in 2021, which also helped me to conceptualize some of these things. So, how to formulate a strategy, what do you need to do with this strategy, how are you going to achieve it, how do you manage people, because that's another big thing. What is governance, how are you supposed to govern this company? It's a family business. How are you supposed to manage your stakeholders, who are your, like in my case, my mom and my siblings. So I'd say it's been a journey, but mostly it's been full of so many incredible lessons.
Okay, very nice. So then eventually you enroll in the course. I don't know what came first. The MBA came, and then you got to know about the family business course.
Yes.
So what really made you look? I'm already doing the MBA, so why again the family business course?
So the biggest motivator was, so I've enrolled in my MBA. So I'm going back home with all these big ideas and big things, and nobody is understanding what I'm communicating. So it's like, and it's a family business. You can't do it alone. You can't make the decisions alone. So that's how I came to learn about the family business program. And I told my mom, okay, I think for us to be on the same page, we need to do this course together. Then this way we can realign, you know.
And even though you did the course with your mom, your other members are still part of Gigi Reuben.
Yes,
other family members,
yes,
right?
yes.
And how many are in there now?
So, like, currently 2 of them are interning as we speak. The other one is doing medicine, so he's a bit held up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so as you came, what do you think? Did you align?
Yes, we aligned. So through the program, I think I'd say the family business program it's short, but it's very intense in a good way. So in that short period of time, within 6 weeks, a lot had changed. So it started having different conversations around governance, you know, just getting the other members to understand the importance of structures. Now it's easy for them to conceptualize, because they're now, first of all, hearing this information from qualified people, you know. They're also seeing what other families are doing out there. So that this becomes a motivating factor that, okay, yeah, indeed we need to do this. We need to think about a board. We need to think about doing things differently. So it was very impactful.
Okay, very good. And are there specific things you're doing now? Because we try to intervene on family governance, which is the cohesion of the family, and then your typical corporate or family business governance. So if you look at those two, what do you see you have achieved?
Yeah. So the biggest one for us is the family constitution.
Okay.
That has to be our biggest takeaway, because immediately after the 6 weeks, we started working on the family constitution. We set up the family council.
And by the way, just before she goes on, what is a family constitution? Because you see, for our listeners, they may not know what a family constitution is.
That's important to define.
And a family constitution essentially is writing down how the family will operate within the business and outside the business. There's that relationship, and so that we need it to be clear-cut in case of any conflicts, they can be resolved. I guess that's what it is.
Yes.
Ideally, what the family does is that it says, okay, fine, we have a business, but then we need to be very clear on how we are going to operate in the business. So we may start by saying, okay, what are our values? And then how will we enter the business? What exits? What is our dispute resolution? Yes, all this. I'm sure you've been able to cover many of this.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really the glue. And in actually looking at just what we have been doing with the family business course, it's really one of the foundations for a lot of the solutions of, you could say, a lot of dispute and succession issues. Because it's always very easy to assume that you know what you're going to do as a family, but assumptions are not enough. Because people keep thinking that we all understand what is going on, but until you articulate it, you realize.
And some of them are even unsaid. You know, it's expected, for example, for a firstborn to do X, or to do Y. And sometimes the firstborn doesn't want to do that.
Or even culturally, the people we are trying to write around daughters and polygamy and whatnot, that the daughters can also be part of the business, because culturally, daughters are supposed to go elsewhere to get their what would we call it?
And elsewhere here, she's married.
She's married. So she's not supposed to be.
She's not in this household.
She's not in that household. She's in that household.
She's in the other one.
Yeah, which is that is a paper we need to write.
Yes.
Just how is the culture versus how daughters can be involved in the business.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story. We will probably do it in
Yes,
episode something.
Yes, we were just talking to. Yes, so we were, the break was just to explain a bit of the family constitution before she takes over as to how the journey has been.
Yeah, so I think you are saying you came up with one of your takeaways was the family business constitution.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the family business constitution. So we had a couple of sessions, to formulate what do we want, what is our vision, how do we want to get there. And then after all that, we had to hand it over to the lawyer just to make everything, to realign everything also with the shareholders agreement.
Yeah.
And then now the next step was now to think about the board, because that was another takeaway for us.
Yeah.
So there was, from where now the business is, we felt like there was need to set up a board. So that's also something else that we took away from the sessions.
Okay. Is the board only family, or are you looking at external?
We have family and 2 slots for independent.
So you've already set it up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is, everyone knows that there's a board and there'll be 2 independent directors who come in.
Yes. So we've been very, very intentional about, the governance issues for the businesses. So we've been having quarterly meetings. We've been intentional about having those conversations with the lawyer. We've been intentional about talking to some of the consultants from Strathmore, just to make sure we're actually now, following what we've been learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
One of our framework, together with CRAF, SCVI, is something called MPG. MPG is mindset, processes, and governance. And so it's good to hear that you're talking about instituting a board on the governance element. And you also talked a bit about structures, which is now the process part.
And the mindset also.
And then also the mindset. For me, I'm just curious on the processes part. You said after the training, you realized that the structures needed to change. How has that journey been?
So one of the biggest challenges from my experience with family businesses is that, especially when you're dealing with parents as the founders of those businesses, I think it's something also Raymond had just mentioned. There's a lot of cultural clash with the processes. So you have, your patriarch or your matriarch asking, why are you telling me this? You're my daughter. They've hired a manager. The manager is saying, we need to do this. But, you have your parent here thinking, this person is not supposed to be telling me what to do. Well, in real sense, you've hired professionals. You need to get your money's worth. You've educated your kids. They've gone there. They're bringing all these big ideas home. You need to sit down and listen to them. So sometimes you can have structures on paper, especially in family businesses, but then qua ground, there's one person calling the shots, which you find is like the detriment of most of these family businesses. So we're really trying to be intentional about our structures.
But you've been a very good pair with your mom. I mean, you remember even the one day you came clad in the same outfit to give your presentation on your journey.
Yes, sometimes you have to, take the baton and be strict, but it's not easy.
Yeah, because there's still a parent-daughter relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but
especially
it has to be done.
Since their journey has been that way. She started being the boss.
Yeah.
Then now
Mom is now the boss.
So that is, by the way, a very interesting dynamic, because I don't think in the interviews we've had across all the family businesers that
the daughter
was the boss.
No, actually, you're very unique.
It's a very unique.
Because it's all founders, either as patriarchs or matriarchs, then second gen.
Okay.
This is an interesting one.
And since now you've been working and the journey has been on to implementing or introducing the structures, has that helped the employees, the 60 you are referring to?
Yes, it has. Especially the immediate managers. They feel like they have, they're so when we talk about innovation, it's not only on paper, it's not just in our strategy document. They feel like they can actually innovate, they can come up with ideas, they no longer shy away. When we're having the meetings, they can speak up, they can say this has been wrong, we need to think about it this way, we can do it this way. And it's really, you can actually feel the change in the organization.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll stop a bit because I'm beginning to remember your very sumptuous lunch you served at. with fruits and juice. It was really nice. Just down there in the middle of nowhere in Kagemi, but a beautiful office you have.
Thank you.
Let's change gears to Gus. At some point, you also benefited from having our students work with you in trying to come with the growth alignment. You can mention something about that. How did you see that impact your business? Did it help? Did it assist in aligning some of the things you're talking about? But also as an MBA student, you are also, we assigned you a business, a school.
Yes.
You can tell us something about that?
Yes, so I'll begin by talking about the guys who came to our business.
Yeah.
So the biggest takeaway from their report was, technology.
Yeah.
They really tried to push us to upgrade some of the IT things. And so what we did internally is we just got a consultant to consume that report and then now at least help us implement.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I'd say we're also we've picked up on what they were talking about and we're trying to implement.
Was it a professional view in your opinion?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And at least another view of the business.
A different perspective. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was really helpful.
Yeah.
I think also having the students around, seeing them interact with everyone else, I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's something I'd encourage people to embrace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you became a student
Yes.
in another business. How was that?
Yes, I became a COO in another
COO.
business. Yes. So I became a COO for a school. It was actually a big school. They had different campuses. And some of the challenges they're facing are some of the challenges we faced. So that made it easy for me to reach out to the patriarch, because I was able to sit him down and tell him, I went through this, you need to think about things in a different perspective. You guys need to look at things this way. And another thing I took away from all that is that sometimes when you're facing challenges, especially in the family business, you feel like some of these things are unique to you, especially when you're facing conflict, when you're trying to, handle the finances, when you're trying to manage your own siblings and your own parents, you sort of feel like, okay, why is this happening to me? But then when you talk to other people, you sort of realize, wait, it's not unique to me, it's a universal problem, and it's something that can be addressed.
And just as you go on there, so for our listeners who can also relate, perhaps you can name one or two challenges that you're saying both of you might have faced, so that, as you're saying, so that if someone else is facing it, they don't feel like they are them by themselves. So it's something that other people are also facing. Yeah.
So the biggest elephant, in my opinion, is governance. So, because you find that some of this business start from, someone starting their own business, they were doing things their own way. I think there's an analogy we were told in class, these things start like a kitchen business, and then before you know it, you have a whole mansion, which you can't run the way you're running a small bed sitter. So you have now a business that's valued at 200 million, but you're still running it like a kiosk, which is not possible. And you find that you end up with demotivated staff. You find that there are a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of embezzlement, and until you people sit down and put in structures, the founders have to agree that now it's time to let go of this power. There's a lot of power struggles. And until you put in the structure and you appreciate some of these governance things that you need to put in place, then you find that you won't grow. You'll grow up to a certain point and then you start stagnating or going back.
So one issue
One
is
Governance.
Governance.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other big issue that I picked is financial planning. So you find maybe your family, you're used to, going for holiday in Dubai, you want to go to Europe, but then this is a tough year. Who will tell you people that you can't afford that trip? And especially when it's coming from maybe a child telling a parent that, this year we can't go to Dubai because the books are not looking good. Or maybe it's the matriarch telling the patriarch that, this year we need to slow down.
We go to Naivasha here.
We have to go to Naivasha. Otherwise we won't make payroll. So some of these conversations, they might look logical to an outsider, but when you're deep in the business, they're actually tough conversations to have.
With family members.
With family members, telling someone that, you can't fuel your car, we need to put in some austerity measures. They start feeling insulted. Yet that is not your aim. So, yeah.
So from, you could say, solution. So on one of governance is, of course, to put structures. This one that is very sensitive. How do you think you dealt with it, or what did you
suggest to them in terms of the financial planning?
So the suggestion I gave in my report was that I actually pushed them to give their finance manager more power, because they have a very skilled person in finance. She knows what she wants to achieve, and she's actually on top of her business, but she has no power. She can't write a check, she can't pay anyone. It's just, her work is not easy for her. But if she just had a bit more power to execute her mandate, things would run easily.
Let's just address that, because I think the fear is to think the money will disappear or she'll write her own checks.
But it won't. You have auditors. You have
as well, and I guess we have also people who are doing finance in our university and want to be financial managers in some of these SMEs. I guess they should also know this in terms of if they put themselves in a family business, their first role could be how to get the power.
Well, how to help in changing the mindset. And to help them understand it is a professional business. And there are checks and balances, as you're beginning to say.
And also how to handle some of these drawings, because you can't wake up and come into the business and demand for cash. If you're working there, just earn a salary. If you're shareholders, wait for the dividends. And until you have those structures, then you can't empower your managers to work. Because if I'm a manager and I'm working in your institution, and I need 100K to do 1, 2, 3, and you need 100K to go on holiday, so that's where issues come in. But if we've put in structures, if you're the director, you have your salary. If you're a shareholder, you'll get your dividend at the end of the year to do whatever it is you need to do. But as long as it's during the financial year and this money is pegged on a certain project, it's been earmarked for 1, 2, 3 things, then that needs to be respected. And unfortunately, qua ground.
And that's something, Raymond, I guess we should talk and have an article on. Is the role of financial managers.
And how to respect their role, because it's very easy for the founder to say, this is my business.
It's my money. What do you mean?
I employed
I need 20K and I have 20K in the account. What do you mean you need to pay a supplier?
How can you've been already a director, an owner, or whatever? How have you managed to tamper it? Because I'm sure it comes to you. You probably think, okay, I need money for whatever. How have you managed to tamper it so that then you don't have to especially use a wrong power in the wrong place?
So, for example, what I did is that first of all, I put in place a salary. So I have a salary, mom has a salary, and then for the other shareholders, they have their dividend that is available to them at a particular point in time. The other thing was just to set up a strong internal audit department, just to make sure it's functional and they're able to question. So they need these financial statements, they need the bank statement, they need access to this and that, making sure these things are available to them and they're able to question things. we also engaged an external auditor.
Okay.
Who now, so like currently we are having an interim audit for these 6 months. So just having all these people questioning, what's this, we shouldn't be doing this, then it keeps you in check.
But that is after, it's a bit historical. Today you may decide I need 20K. So how have you managed to tamper so that you know that I can't just go to the finance manager and say I need 20K?
Yes.
So how have you managed? Or it's very clear to the finance manager?
It's very clear.
There's a clear process.
It's very clear. There's a clear process.
Okay.
So a request has to be just the structures.
Yeah.
If you need money, you have to go to your direct manager to request for this. They put in a request to the finance manager, who again goes to someone else to do the disbursement. The moment you put in, those structures,
and they are respected,
and they are
you
respected,
them
and
yourself.
you as the proprietor and the director, because if you don't respect them, then it's
I guess what she's saying, that the founder or the family has a very big role in ensuring that all
they set the
tone,
temperature and the tone
and the direction, so that whatever they are saying, they are also doing. Because sometimes that's usually the biggest challenge. Saying inaitwa kusema na kutenda.
That's true, because you find, for us to get here, it's been a journey. We've had those instances where someone is asking for money and they're told, no, I can't give you this money. And those questions come up, kampuni ni ya nani, who are you to tell me? But as a family, you need to have those strict and uncomfortable conversations of this is not right, you can't do this, this is what we're working towards, you need to respect people, you need to respect just having those uncomfortable behind the scenes conversations.
Okay, very good. Maybe you can say something about Gigi, Reuben, and what you're doing.
PALLA Credit
and River Court.
Yes.
So for the listeners,
and how you can be reached and how they can give you business.
Yes. So Gigi Reuben is the holding company. We have 2 companies, a microfinance institution called PALLA Credit. So what we do is we give loans to the bottom of the pyramid, businesses, just to give them that capital to, finance their businesses. And then we have River Court, which is a real estate company. So we manage properties on behalf of owners, and we also do valuation, we do property management, we also do renting. So if you're looking for a house or if you have a property that you need to rent out, then you can reach out to us. My number is 0720 059 223.
Okay, and your email?
wamboigitehi@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Any parting shot, something to ignite people, either family businesses to come or MBA students or undergrads?
She can part with so many things. She can part with family business, she can part with MBA, she can part with gas.
Okay, first, if you're thinking about if you want to do an MBA and where to do it, I'd encourage you to do the Strath MBA. It's very impactful. The networks are invaluable. Like for sure, the value of your phone book will change the moment you enroll.
Whoa.
Yes, that one is guaranteed. And just the international exposure. You meet people from Lagos, you meet the ESA team, and if you know what you're doing, you actually come out of it, wholesome.
The key thing there is
if you know what you're doing.
I think it's by there a very important thing, because we are saying people need to know why they're doing the MBA.
Then for family business, what I came to realize is that our economy is very much driven by these family businesses. If only we give them a bit more attention and some seriousness. And for parents, you've already educated your kids, you've spent so much money to take them to these good schools. Sit down and listen to them. They're actually very innovative, they have big ideas that will transform your businesses.
Yeah.
And finally, gas. Gas is our thing, so
gas.
You cannot not.
For gas,
because we want future MBAs.
Yes, they should enroll. It gives you, just like I'd said, that shift in perspective, just seeing things from another perspective. will make it easy for you to face your challenges. Yeah.
And one of the reasons, of course, of why we also introduced gas was, for some of them, have been working in big corporations, the listed companies.
Yeah.
They've not been exposed to small and medium enterprises. And so to bring them down to this level, sometimes is a very big surprise.
Yes.
Because you're used to processes in this one. This one sometimes may lack, and we are asking you to help them implement. And like I remember one found that leap to be very, 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 very. Yeah.
But that's actually another plus, especially for people who are in those big corporations and you aspire to one day have your own business. Yeah. It's very important to experience what it's like. Otherwise, you'll come out of employment and with these big expectations and you'll feel frustrated. Yeah. So I think it will be a good learning curve for people to participate. Yeah,
and this is really the ground in Kenya. If we can spend our energy, effort, putting SMEs together, I'm sure we can depend also on businesses as a way of growing our economy.
Yes.
At the moment, we keep saying it's 40% GDP coming out of SMEs, but we can grow that. I don't see how we cannot do that. Yeah. And I think these initiatives are the things we need to think about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joyce.
Thank you
for your time. Keep on doing what you're doing. We'll come for lunch another time.
We want the fruits and the juice.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And a big hello to Mom when you meet her and your brothers.
Okay.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Unleashing the SMEs, episode 2. We've just had a wonderful interview with Joyce, talking about family business, gas, her MBA journey, her journey being a director in the company. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, till next time.
Okay, when we come back, you've heard us discuss all these things with Raymond and Robert about MPG. When we come back, we are having a guest who will take us through her journey on MPG. She's a current MBA student at Strathmore Business School, and she'll demystify some of these concepts we've been talking about in her own personal journey in her business. And she was also part of the gas project as a COO in another small and medium enterprise.